I guess something that's a little bit sneakier than just like the hardware, but some hardware also even comes with subscriptions and renewals, and like software comes with subscriptions and renewals. So these are things that are, I guess, kind of often missed on annual budgets because they tend to be always not really visible on full end of the year invoices, but kind of just like a monthly reoccurrence. So from mailbox licenses to security subscriptions, even like vendor support agreements. So the cost of keeping your business running digitally is often tied up in recurring fees as well. So I guess if we're trying to track renewals carefully, they can also balloon in cost if we don't track them at all, and they can also expire critical accounts or make systems offline. So the goal here, I guess, if we pivot over to this section, is kind of proactive planning and mapping on overall what a company is using, what's coming up for renewal, and how to scale wisely for that too. So, John and Alan, what are some, I guess, advice that you guys would give for companies looking into getting a grip on their renewals, and what sort of renewals could they keep in mind for these costs?
Yeah, for sure. I think so. There's a couple of big factors here. So the way everything is kind of moving in today's time is you're going to have a few options for either software subscriptions where it's going to be monthly or annual or multi-year agreements, and those are all going to kind of vary based on pricing. Longer agreements tend to have lower upfront costs or lower payments throughout. So you're going to want to keep track on all of your agreement expirations and what the terms are of those agreements. So are they monthly, are they annual, are they multi-year deals? Because a lot of times also what will happen is you might sign up for a 3-year agreement for some solution, and then you're past that 3-year time, and now it's just a monthly term, or worse, it auto renews for 3 years, and you weren't sure if you were going to keep that solution or not. So keeping an eye on those expirations are really important. The other factor there is if you were to sign up for a 3-year agreement, let's say for a product that's vital to your business, and then that expiration comes up, and now you're just going on along a monthly term, still paying the same. That expiration date is a good time to renegotiate that agreement with the vendor and possibly bring down your costs, or at least not, avoid any kind of increase in the future. Second part to that is actual license counts. So, companies' employment, varies on how many employees they have at a certain time. So if you're not keeping an eye on those agreements or those license counts, you get, we've seen a lot of companies that are paying for, 2-3 times the amount of licenses than they actually need, or licenses that have been bundled into a different type of license where they were only using a few core features from a product when it was first created, and those were only available in one license type, but now they've been separated. So again, a chance at saving money on either swapping licenses or reducing the amount that are no longer needed. So again, keeping track of the terms of the agreement, the quantity, and the features within the licenses that you are purchasing, really important, really big money savers. It's one of the things that we do with our current clients, and also when we take on a new client, the first thing we review is their licenses, and just make sure that they are right sized for what they're doing and what they have.
Further to what John is saying, schedule yourself a review quarterly or at least annually, and make sure you go through all your licenses and make sure that you're not paying right for something that you don't need. Just real quick, some examples of some of these licenses would be, Microsoft 365 licenses, your Adobe products, you have some kind of spam filtering service, email encryption services, your email hosting service, many services out there. And a good way to keep track of them too is just look at your bills. If you're not quite sure really what you're paying for, or you just kind of want to consolidate everything and start a budget, just pull all your bills and see what things are, and then you can start finding out, is this a monthly contract, is this an annual contract, are we going to keep it for a few years, is it less expensive if there's a multi-year contract available.
And I would say also, if you're not working with a managed service provider like Fairdinkum, reviewing those solutions as they expire to see if there's anything better out there, anything, offering more features or discounted pricing is always good to to kind of assess that before you renew.
Yeah, and I think one of the things as well that people tend to forget about is even vendor management. So let's say like you use this specific software and you kind of pay for support for that software, or like a continued update process for that too. Just keeping on that same sort of structure, because that's one of those things, if you forget to pay it and then you realize you really need help or you really need an upgrade, it can often cost a lot more to get back into the cycle of that too.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And also a lot of those, when you have an outdated support agreement, in order to reestablish that, there's going to be additional costs for that reestablishment.